Okay, my name is Mitch Bryars, and I got a special dispensation from Jerry, our president, to not be wearing a tie today.
Hey.
So, I think that's normal.
He called too early in the morning, I wasn't awake.
But I generally run the iOS, iPhone, iPad meetings that are held on the second Wednesday of each month. That's usually when we do them. And how many people are here for the first time? No first timers? Oh, okay.
I missed the year.
Okay, are you two together?
Oh, we have another one.
Another one there. Okay, okay. So let me go over the announcements then. The club is open to the public. It's free to come in and sit down and join us. We almost always meet at 11:30 till 11:45 on the quarter to one on Wednesdays each week, and then also on the third Monday each month. Sometimes there's a little change in the schedule.
Just 5 months, November through February.
November through February, yeah. And those generally go from 5 to 7, 6:30 or 7. A lot of times there's a guest speaker. The format for the meetings is very simple. If you have questions, raise your hand. Just identify yourself with your first name so we get to know you. If you want to join the club, it's $20 for a single membership, $25 for a family. And there are some other benefits, many benefits, to becoming a member. First, we have a discussion board on Yahoo. That's a private discussion group that you will be privileged to use for free. And if you post a question, whatever it is, on anything Apple, I can almost guarantee you will get answers, probably several. The second...
And most of them are right.
And most of them are correct, yes. The second benefit is that if you are a member, we have 10, usually about 10 training sessions that we hold at Hodges University, starting in January, sometime mid-January or so, going through mid-March or so. And they are 3 hours in length, each one, and each one costs $10, and you have to be a member to attend. Now, I know last year I did 2 of those sessions. One was on iPad, one was on iPhone. I think this year I'll be doing the same thing. We'll probably have another couple on iPhone, iPad applications that will be done by other members in our group. We'll have 2 on Yosemite that Jerry, our president, will do. George will be doing, I'm so sure, something on iLife or whatever it's going to be when they announce it.
iPhoto for the phone and the computer.
There you go.
Scott?
Will be doing
Pages.
pages. Okay, so those are generally limited to 50 for each class. They fill up rather rapidly, and they're 3 hours in length. They cost $10. And the third benefit I want to mention is we have 5 subscriptions to a service called lynda.com. It's an educational service that has thousands of videos on just about anything computer, whether it be Apple or Microsoft. And I'll be actually using some lynda.com videos today, so you'll get a flavor for that. But the way that works is we have 5 memberships. If you want a week's worth of free time to do courses, you email George, and George then will tell you the availability. You sign up for a week, and in that week he sends you an email and says, hey, you're all set, and then you can use it for a week. I think now he's booking out to mid-December into January. It gets sort of busy in the season. You start using this thing in the summer when you're up north, and a lot of times he'll email me back and say, hey, if you want 2 weeks, I've got it available. It's just a little slower.
Just in the summertime.
Just in the summertime. Any other announcements at this time? Did I miss anything?
Well, I think we should announce, we are having a meeting this coming Monday, right, George?
Yes, we have a meeting this coming Monday with Jeff Bohr. And he's going to be speaking on iOS 8 and iOS, and the new iOS, Yosemite.
New OS.
New OS, Yosemite. And he's going to be talking about, tricks and so forth in both of the operating systems. So it should be a really good meeting.
That's at 5 o'clock here in this room.
5 o'clock on Monday. Yeah, don't miss that meeting.
For the people who don't know who he is, he's a Mac professional. He does repairs, comes to your home. He knows everything about Macs and Apple devices, and we're lucky to have him speak to us. Mitch?
Yes.
You might want to point out the treasurer.
Yes, the treasurer is Don, who just spoke in the back. He has applications on the table.
The
If
chair
you,
right there on the way out.
and he's the one you should see if you want to become a member, and you can either mail in a check or you can give him the money.
Also renewals if somebody.
Or renewals, yes. Okay. We had a couple, so today I want to go over some specific things. I want to go over Safari and some things in iMessage and open it up to questions. But I did have a couple people send me questions. And I want to address one of those right now, and it was, it came from Janet. Is Janet here? Janet is not here. Janet Boucher?
Oh, that's, yeah.
Okay, she's not here, but you'll see it on the tape. And
She might still be coming,
Okay,
but you might as well, that's a good question.
okay. So her question had to do with text messaging, and she said, I do very little text messaging in the past, and I have always received messages on my iPhone. Suddenly, 2 days ago, I received one on my 2-year-old iMac to let me know that something was happening. I read the message, then thought that it would be nice, a nice way to receive it because I could respond using the larger keyboard on my Mac. However, I did not know how to send it from the Mac, and I tried a thing or two, but was afraid the sender might never receive it, so she used her regular email. Meanwhile, she says, looking at my messages on the iPhone 6, I saw no mention that I had received a text message. So I wanted to go over some settings there that might clear that up, and I emailed Jerry. If you have comments, let me know. But on the iPhone, unfortunately I can't show the iPhone, can I? Does it work if I plug the iPhone in?
No.
No. Okay. You're sure?
Well, you'd have to
Use the reflectors.
you have to turn the iPad off, right?
Yeah. You have to disconnect the iPad from the
Okay.
reflectors.
I want to do that because that's the way I have to show this.
Okay.
Okay? So let me just get rid of this for a minute. Okay, and I'll put it on here. There we go. Okay, now,
Very good.
what I want to do is go into settings. And when you go into settings, the first thing, and I actually had to look this up and do a little research on this. This was a really good question. And it wasn't covered. I looked at a lot of videos on messaging, and it wasn't covered because it's something that came about in iOS 8.1, and a lot of the videos were made up on iOS 8 when it first came out. But if you go into messaging, I need my dagger, so just a second. Okay, so you go into settings and go in, this is where I'm going to go, into this messaging area. And when you go in there, the thing that she's looking at is right here. It says text message forwarding. Allow your iPhone text messages to also be sent and received on other devices signed into your iMessage account. Okay? Well, her Mac must be signed into her iMessage account or she wouldn't have received the text message to begin with. Because there's 2 or 3 steps involved in this, and this is where it sort of gets complicated. But this is one of them. And so what you do, I'm going to push on this arrow. And when I push on that arrow, you'll see that I have 3 devices that I can receive my text messages on and send them from those devices. And when I'm sitting at home, it sounds like fireworks going off when I get a text message, which I'll tell you how to correct that too. So first I have my MacBook Air, and then I have my regular iMac, and then I have an iPad Air 2, which is sitting right here. And so all those are turned on. When you turn it on, you get a message that says enter code.
Yeah.
Okay? So you turn on the button here, you got to be sitting at your device and it'll say enter a code. You enter the code and you're done.
So where do you get the code from?
When you hit this thing right here, when you turn this on,
Right, it says enter a code.
it says no, it'll say on the device enter the code.
Right,
Okay. What's it saying?
enter a code.
Well, where's your main?
Then it shows up on your iPad.
It shows on
iMac.
this one, it shows on iPad.
Where do you
So it also
do
shows
your
up-
texts from?
Phone.
Well, your phone should already be, my phone doesn't even show. I don't know why your phone's showing up.
Mine does.
No, but does that code show up on the other
I just
The
did
code
it.
shows up on the other machine.
I just added the iPad on the phone, and then it showed up on the iPad with the code,
Okay,
and I entered that on the phone.
okay.
The code is your regular code?
The one, no, it shows up on here. I just added the iPad,
Yeah.
as Mitch just showed, and then a code showed up on the iPad, entered it on the phone where it asked for it, and now
Now
this
it creates a.
it creates it.
Yeah.
So I'll show you this because right here, this is my iPad, okay? This, I think, is the only thing I want to show on the phone for right now. So I'll turn this off. Turn this off. Okay, now it's
Yeah,
off,
it's right here.
okay?
That's it.
So it's off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on, okay? And then it's going to say enter a code. Now what I got to do is I'm going to log off of this thing if I can. I don't think I can do that. No, I can't do it. So anyhow, this is what it shows, and I'll get on and you'll see what the code looks like in a second. So let me get out of here for a second and turn this off. And turn this one back on. Okay. Now,
You probably need to buy an extra screen for this room.
this is getting to be the problem. So when I turn it on now,
There.
see it says here, enter this code. So now I enter the code. And it's all set up. Now, when I will say that when I first did this on my iMac, I was sitting at the iMac and I had to actually do it 2 or 3 times for the code to go through. I don't know whether it timed out because it was a couple minutes or whatever, but I did get it to work. So that's the one step you've got to do. The other step is that in the on your device, on your computer, on on the iMessage at the bottom in the menu bar, George's is so small I can't show it, but there's a message thing there, it's blue. And when you turn that on, you have to go to settings and, or preferences, and you have to set up and make sure that your phone number and your iCloud account are set up to receive messages there as well. Correct, Jerry?
I don't know.
Yes, I know that's the case. And I think that's about all. Is there anything?
On the iMac, her other question was, how does she send the message when it came to her iMac and press return?
Oh, yes.
There was no send button to press.
Yes, you hit return. You hit return to send the message. Yes, good point. I never do it from that machine, so I don't know. This was...
But when this comes up, does it open up messaging?
Yes, it does. If messaging is closed and you get a message, it'll open up your messaging. Now, also, if you don't want your computer to chime like your phone chimes, then in the preferences for messaging on your computer, there's a place there where you can turn off the sound.
Can you do the same thing for the phone?
Yes, you can do it for the phone. And you can also do it for your device here. So I can probably show it.
If that happens one more time in my house, my wife will.
Okay, so if you go to messaging here, and I think,
It's under sounds.
is it under sounds?
Yes.
Okay. So, sounds,
Text.
yeah, text messaging, text right here. Okay, so you just select none if you didn't want it on your iPad. Now, it's not under sounds on the computer.
Right.
On the computer, I found that when messaging was open in preferences, and then there were a whole bunch of sounds listed. There were like 40 of them. And I thought, well, where's the none? And I went all the way to the bottom, and there was a none.
Can you get them all to ring at one time?
They don't all ring at one time. They sort of all, you know, one will go off, the next one will go off, the next one will go off. About that time, my wife says, what's going on? Who's texting you?
And my wife would be out the door.
Rich, would you go to the messages, and your iPad, to the messages thing, and it talks about iMessage, but I don't see a path, I don't see a path there to link this to my iMac.
There is no,
If you go to the mess.
go to here.
Click message. The only thing there is whether you have iMessage turned on or off. And I didn't see anything that says that I could, how to link it to the iMac.
Well, the send and receive, right here, that's what you turn on. And when you turn on that send and receive on your messaging on your iMac the same way,
Okay,
then you're good.
okay, thank you.
And the important one to turn on is your phone number, if you have an iPhone. I don't know what you turn on if you have your flip with the dial on it now, right?
Yes, my iPhone 7 has got a dial on it.
Yeah, okay, good. Yes,
Can you go back to sounds preference?
yeah,
Okay. All right, I don't see phone on there. How can I get my iPad not to ring when I get a phone call on my iPhone?
okay.
Now he's talking about calls.
Yes, now you're talking about something different. That's calls, and I'll show you how to do that.
What are we doing?
I'll show you how to do that, but I gotta get out of here again. It's sort of a pain, but we gotta do this. So I'll go on here, and
Oh, it's a setting on the phone?
it's a setting on the phone, exactly. So let me just get on here real quick again. This actually is pretty quick to be done. There we go, done. So now you go out and you go to
FaceTime.
cellular. Well, you go to cellular too, I think. No, maybe you're right. FaceTime. Yeah, FaceTime. You go to FaceTime, and this is what you turn on right here. You see that? iPhone cellular calls. If that's off, it turns it off on all the devices. There's no, well, I want this one but not this one. It's all or none. Okay?
We want to see it, but we don't want to hear it.
No, you won't. Well, the only way to see it and not hear it is to have your computer on, have this on, have your computer on, and have your computer sound turned to off.
So you can't turn that particular sound off.
Not to my knowledge, but that, I haven't found a way to do that. Is anybody else? 'Cause I think it's a great feature. I talked about it a little bit the other day, somebody had a question about it. The problem is that this device is sort of stuck to my skin, so it's always with me, almost always. So if I'm in the living room, sitting at the table, I've got my phone right there. Generally speaking, if I get up and I'm going to go sit in the bedroom for a while, I take my phone with me. And set it down in case I get a call. Now,
The phone never leaves.
the phone just is sort of glued to me. So, so here was the problem. I'd have my phone out in the living room, sitting on the table, and I'd get a phone call, and my computer and my iPad were happened to be in my office, and they're ringing at the same time, and I answer the call, and they're still ringing for a minute or so. They don't stop it right away. So I found that to be more of a nuisance than a convenience, just because I'm not sitting at my desk all the time. I could see where if I was going to be working for 2 or 3 hours in my office, maybe I'd want to turn that feature on, but it's just a click of the switch to turn it on. Scott?
That happened to me last night, and I had the iPhone with me, and sitting at the computer, and the computer rang.
Yeah.
And you can push accept or decline, I think.
Yeah.
I pushed decline, thinking it would turn it off just on the computer, but it disconnected the call.
Oh, yeah. It'll disconnect.
So,
yes.
and that happened 2 or 3 times until I realized what I was doing.
Yes, exactly. So if you don't want, if you don't want to hear it, if you want to see it on your computer or your iPad, but you don't want the noise, the only way I know to do it is to mute your device, not your phone, because you can have your phone on mute and your computer will be jingling. So I just turn it off.
But you could turn it off on the computer and let the phone ring.
You could turn your sound
Sound
off. I don't know if there's a way, to my knowledge, there's not a way to just turn it off on the computer, but there might be. I'm sure Jerry will, when he studies,
My iPhone 7.
when he gets his iPhone 7, he's going to go over that.
Don't hold your breath.
Or he'll cover that when he does Yosemite in a couple of months and brushes up on it, right?
I hope so.
Because that's where, it's really interesting, because I emailed Jerry and I emailed George on this question, because the phone and the iPad operating system are starting to really overlap with this continuity and so on with the iOS on the computers, but it's somewhat different. And the settings are a little different, and so, and it's sort of hard to explain, because you really need a phone, an iPad, and a computer to demonstrate all 3 at one time, and that's a challenge, at least right now.
If you go to sleep, come back in 10 years, you won't.
That's right. That's the key. That's the challenge. Going to sleep for 10 years and coming back. That's the challenge.
My dad, the phone would be under his skin and not glued to it.
Scott, the other solution is to turn the batteries off from your hearing aid.
I'm not there yet, Jerry.
I am.
Mitch,
Yes.
I don't want to break the flow, but you're doing something now that either I never noticed before or didn't notice the details about before, and that is, it appears as though you're mirroring your iPhone through the computer.
Yes.
Yes.
So is the iPhone on the screen of the computer right now?
Yes.
See, I've only ever mirrored my iPhone through an Apple TV. I didn't realize that you could mirror it.
Well, you can mirror it if you have this software, which is
Reflector.
reflective.
Okay, so it's not automatic that you can do that. So this this is in here so that we can see the mirroring on the
I
screen.
think it's automatic if you're on your home network.
Yeah, you have to.
But you have to have the software.
You have
No,
to-
I don't
you-
think
You
so.
have to have reflector.
We have to have a reflector, or can you use AirPlay or one of those?
I think, I'll have to check with that, Jeremy. I know you can, I know I can reflect on an Apple TV.
Right, and I'm saying that the computer and the iPhone and the iPad are all equal as far as mirroring is concerned with respect to the Apple TV. But I had never seen or noticed that you were mirroring the iOS devices on the computer to project it up there.
That might be something, yeah.
The reflector software turns the computer into a receiver, not just a transmitter. So it is an AirPlay receiver when you have reflector playing. And that's why it won't mirror without the software. The laptop is not an AirPlay receiver, it is an AirPlay transmitter.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So the reflector has to be running, you have to have it launched.
Yes.
On the Mac only?
Yes.
Yes.
And
I'm not clear
it's about a
why you-
$40 piece of software, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not clear why you don't use your video on your phone and then to transmit on the screen of what's on the iPad, rather than keep turning it on and off.
Because this has certain settings, like this one right here, that's only on, that second setting is only on the phone.
I understand that, but when you want to show the iPad rather than go in and out, why don't you just use the video camera? So you won't do that?
I'm not so sure what you're saying.
You should, use your video camera that's on your iPhone to show us what's on the iPad.
To show what's on the iPad, I could do that, but I could just easily switch back and
Just
forth.
easy to do it,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
You don't want to buy 3 projectors.
No. Okay, so I want to move on off of that topic, is that okay? Okay, now, then I got an email, a really advanced notice from Scott. I think I got it at 10 o'clock this morning.
Well, he thought you didn't do anything else except get ready for this meeting.
That's right. Scott's question was a good one, and had to do with 1Password. How many people here use 1Password? Okay. How many people use 1Password on their some kind of an iDevice? Okay, good. And also on their computer? Yeah, okay, good. So Scott's question was he uses iPassword on his Mac, okay, and 1Password. And so now he's gotten 1Password on his iDevices, and he wants to know, how do I set it up and how do I sync it? It asked me if I had a vault, and he said I wasn't sure. So if you have it on your computer or on your iDevice, one or the other, and you don't have both yet, you have a vault, because that's where everything is saved. Now, I have one vault. Jerry, I think, has several. Is that right? No, one.
One, but 1Password on your Mac has a demo vault.
Yes, there is a demo vault on the Mac. Now, so when it says to you, do you have a vault, you say yes, and then what you have to do is look on your computer and see, where am I syncing it? Are you syncing it in iCloud, or are you syncing it in Dropbox? And then it'll say, where's it located? And if it's Dropbox, you hit Dropbox, and you go and you pick the file. There's usually only one, and then you're good to go, and then you start to sync.
Where in the computer will it tell me that? You said look on the computer to see where I'm syncing it.
Well, you look in Dropbox, where if you've got, let's say you're using Dropbox, you will have a Dropbox folder on your iDevice, and you have
With
a
1Password.
Dropbox folder on your phone, on your Mac, and they are syncing to each other, so they've got a copy of the vault in both places.
Okay.
Where's
So-
the original copy at, Jerry?
What?
Where's the original copy of the vault?
So if I go, this is Dropbox
So you're
online.
referring to, there's more than one original. You're referring to the vault as a folder, right?
Hey, is it gonna let
On
me
Dropbox.
use both of these? Look at this, is this gonna let me use both of these?
I think so.
No, it won't.
No.
No. Okay. All right, make that one go away. So this is my Dropbox, and this is my vault right here in Dropbox. Okay? If you use it, if it's in iCloud, it'll be in iCloud. And then, so you just select that, and you should be able to sync it. And so while we're on that, I'll show you a little bit about, this. Let me see here. Oh, here we go.
You don't want to do that, it'll show.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Let me just,
Why do you want to do that?
well, because I never choose this code. Let me just get in here real quick and I'll do it. Be right back.
And it would be recorded for posterity on the
Yeah.
So you could freeze frame in YouTube and so it wouldn't go too fast for you. I'll take a freeze frame of that. That's one of the reasons why I don't have things videoed, because I'm never sure where I'm going to end up on the thing.
Okay. So, now let me get back in here real quick. Okay, good. So, one of the things, I have the new iPad Air 2 that has the ID. And this is really nice, so I'll demonstrate it. So, now that I've got my password in, I had to put my password in because I restarted this thing this morning before I came here to make sure everything was cleared out. So if I hit on this and then just put my thumb here, it says enter your touch ID, put my thumb there, and it unlocks it. And that's really neat. And it does that on other apps as well. So it does it on your phone if you have a iPhone 5S or above.
So it's like Apple.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
an
like
iPad
Apple Pay.
Air 2 feature also, or iPad Air will do it? Or is it
iPad Air 2,
2, not...
because the iPad Air does not have the touch, okay?
You go out and buy them.
You have to get a new one, which I did. Okay, so, but to give you an indication of how much I use this, and Jerry might even use it more.
By the way, we have a box in the back of the room you can throw all your iPads in.
We're taking donations for the Boys and Girls Group or whatever. But I have 277 login passcodes. I have 8 secure notes. I have 15 credit cards. I have 3 IDs. A lot of people didn't know.
Multiple identities.
Multiple identities.
Are you treated for it?
I am treated. Passwords that I've used that generated from the system are 46. I have my passports in here, 2 of them. One of them's my wife's. 2 driver's license. I have information about our wireless routers in here. I have information about 5 different bank accounts, and I have information on 7 different software licenses. Yes.
What do you use passwords for as opposed to logins?
Well, these are passwords that the system generated. Whereas, obviously, if I had the system generate all of them, this would be 277.
Right.
But I've generated a lot of them myself.
Okay.
That's the difference.
The thing is, when you go into a new site and you create, and it creates a password for you, it doesn't necessarily become a login until you turn it into a login.
Oh, it goes into passwords.
It is stored as a password.
Right.
So sometimes you might want to generate a password and not use it for a login. You might have other mechanisms where you have to get passwords, and it's not computer access.
Mitch?
Yes, Jim?
No offense, but if those are passwords that you created, my understanding is they can't stand up to the ones that 1Password would create in terms of length and complexity and unmemorability.
That's
Why
correct.
would you stick with logins that are more easily?
They just might have been a one-time deal, or they date back a long way, and I've gone through and slowly changed the more important ones, but I haven't gone through and changed all 277.
Okay, so this is like in the midst of a process of evolution.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
One
Yes,
one of the nice features about 1Password is there's a password analysis. So capability, when 1Password is running, you can say, look for duplicates, and it will tell you all the ones where you've used the same password on different sites, and then you can proactively go through and change them so that you get rid of duplicates. It will also say that these don't look too good, and, you know, strength. So there's a nice analysis capability.
Okay, you also think of those where you have to enter it a very torturous way, the password, like the printer. So if you have a home printer, you don't want a complicated password.
yeah, there are a lot of,
Similar situation.
yes,
Bill,
yeah, Bill.
I've had on my iDevice data that's incomplete compared to what I have on my computer. Is there a way to bring that up to complete?
Yeah, you're out of sync, and you gotta work with that every once in a while. I have a problem with that. Sometimes you'll have a problem because of space issues on your iDevice, that it won't sync because there's not enough space. But usually, something's out of whack in your syncing.
Well, it will have for instance, I have probably 8, 9-digit numbers I have to practice medicine in.
Right.
And I've got them there under my, I guess it would be identity.
Yes.
Well, my identity part of it is there, but all these numbers are not. And I've got them down there in the bottom of notes, so to speak. So the identity's there, but the note is not.
So the identity, let me go to my identities. Now you guys know my 3 identities. Actually, there's a reason I have 3. One is my Naples address, and one, we have a home in Park City that we don't get mail at the home. We get mail at a P.O. box. So if somebody's going to send me something UPS, I give them the street address, which is the second one there. If they're going to send it to Postal Service, I give them my P.O. box. But if I look at this, I mean, you're saying that when you put these notes in at the bottom, they're not staying in?
Yeah. On the iDevice. They're on the computer.
I don't know. Jerry, do you know?
I would make sure that you, or you are using Dropbox?
Yeah.
I would make sure that you've got the most current version of Dropbox in both systems. Dropbox is very bad at rolling out new versions, and you could have an old version in your iDevice and a newer one in that, and their format changes. So go to the Dropbox sites and download the most current version for Dropbox.
Okay.
Oh, okay, there was that question back there, yes.
Could he somehow delete what he's got on his device and start all over?
Well, you can do, now you can do that. You can, a dangerous thought, but I think that they keep a backup. You can actually do a backup of your 1Password stuff. But I've actually gone in, and I've deleted, it's been a long time since I've done this, but I've deleted everything on my iDevice and then set it up again and re-sync it to get it in sync with my computer, and it solved some problems I was having, but it's been a long time ago. They're pretty responsive at 1Password if you email them too.
But, I mean, it's kind of, if you delete it in your iDevice, remember, a copy is in Dropbox, and a copy is in your Mac, and those two are in sync, and as soon as you re-enable it on your iDevice, Dropbox will pass that file down.
Yes, one more question back here.
Yeah, couldn't you just sync it via Wi-Fi?
Well, apparently he did sync it via Wi-Fi, right, Bill?
Well, it's synced through Dropbox, and I'm on the same Wi-Fi at home.
And he's saying it's not syncing properly.
But you have to tell it to sync, right? It doesn't automatically.
It syncs by itself, if you've got it set up right. It syncs by itself.
Another question?
Yeah,
My wife was taking pictures yesterday
yeah,
on an iPhone 6,
yes.
and the pictures were upside down. And she tried to send them, you know, and you're typing on the bottom of the picture that's upside down. And we went all over trying to figure out why these pictures are upside down. We both took them, and so I'm sure we both had the camera right side up.
I don't have an answer for that. I know if you're in the edit mode, I think on the device, can't you rotate the pictures?
No,
No?
we tried. Yeah, I think edit is just for the cropping and,
I don't know, I've never.
Shutting down everything?
pardon?
Did you try totally shutting down everything?
No, we did not.
You might try the hard reset, yeah. Yes,
I got a question about Dropbox. I'm in Dropbox and I show 3 1Password folders. How do I know which one's the right one?
well, which one are you using?
I don't know.
I can't tell you. You might look at the data that's in there. You might also, if you've got 3 of them in there, at one time you were using all 3. I mean, not at one time, but you would use them.
I don't know how they got 3 in there.
You know, yeah, Jerry?
You can get in trouble with Dropbox if you have it open, if you have, let's say you're working in one device and you open up Dropbox in another device, you end up creating what they call conflicted copies because it doesn't know which one is the master anymore. So one of the important things if you're going to be working in Dropbox is are things that are syncing through Dropbox is only have it open only have it live and running in one system at a time. Otherwise, you'll end up with duplicate copies and what they call conflicted copies.
Okay, so how do I know which one's second?
You have to look at them and pray.
You know, the one way to do it is to make a simple change. Add a dummy contact, okay? And then let it sync and
Look
see
at the
which.
folder in a Finder window and look at the date and the time that has changed.
Yeah. Now, I stopped using Dropbox and I'm using iCloud because I had too many problems come up with Dropbox.
Marty's had his hand up for a while. He was trying to get a question. Marty.
Yes.
I know the lexicon here is to use 1Password. Why not keychain?
I use both. I use keychain. Sometimes I don't use keychain intentionally. I'll give you an example. Delta Airlines. Both my wife and I have Delta Airline IDs, okay? Well, if I use keychain, and I'm on my login stuff, and then I want to get her logged in, it's always signing me in automatically. So I'll put don't do it, don't use keychain for that application, but I have them both in Dropbox. So I'll go up to, I have them both in 1Password. So I'll hit 1Password, and then I'll either pick my wife's or mine, whichever one I want. That'd be an example. Their example is like the Social Security Administration. When I log in there, I don't use keychain because it doesn't differentiate between myself and my wife. Yes, Jerry.
Let me add my personal one.
is that the keychain opens up as soon as your user account opens up. So you may not have as extensive a password to log into your user account as you would use for one password. So anytime that your user account is live, keychain is available to whoever is
I don't
sitting.
know what you mean by user account.
When you're sitting at your Mac and you turn it on, up comes a user account.
Oh,
Okay, what you're working in. And some of us use automatic login. So if my wife ever got smart enough to know how to turn on the computer, she would have access to everything because the password's there. My login password is not nearly as robust as what I use for one password.
And that's the same for me. I mean, I have a passcode that I use, but it's not nearly as robust as, and so sometimes for sensitive stuff, I don't use keychain for that reason. Yes.
Different topic. I was trying on my new iPhone to create folders for my apps.
Yes.
It used to be that when I created a folder, it offered me to give it a name.
Yes.
It offered a name and me the chance to change it.
Yes.
Neither a name came, nor could I figure out how to add one.
Okay, so, well, we'll go over that. So I'm going to get out of this. I sort of got off topic with this a little bit with the 1Password, but
Yeah, there's another comment on the 1Password. So if I went to Jerry's house and his computer was on, I could go to Keychain and read all of his passwords.
that's exactly what I did the other day.
But the only thing I could do, the only thing I could do with 1Password is, I guess I could go, I don't use it, but I guess I could go to his bank or whatever and with it on, he doesn't have to.
No, you can't.
No, you have a master password.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to use that every time. Let's say he's already used it.
Usually it locks down, and you have a chance to lock it down immediately, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, then he has to put in his master password for 1Password.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Exactly. Okay, so yours was on the folders. Well, let's just look at that for a second. Let me go back here to an area that I don't care too much about. But let's just say that I can do it on the phone if you want me to. I mean, it works on the phone. I've done it.
Doesn't matter where you do.
Okay. So if I want to do this one, you go like this, and then I just go over and I put this up here. Hopefully, yeah, there. Now, it's
That's
got,
what it used to do.
yes.
Use is the name.
And you can go right up here and you can just go in here and put whatever you
When I
want.
put two together, neither did news come up or any name for it, nor could I figure out where to put in it.
Let me just check on my phone real quick. I'm not going to put this on here, but I'll try this on my phone real quick and see.
When you do it, Bob, does the come up blank where it says test, but is
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
is there that little circle with the X next to it? Is it just blank?
I don't remember if the X was there or not.
Yeah, no, mine on the phone works fine. So I think, you know, if you would just let me have your phone for a few days.
Or a couple months.
I exchange it for yours.
Why don't we get together after the meeting? You got time? Okay. Okay, I want to go on for a minute and get out of here. And there's a couple more things I wanted to demo, and this one's a hard one to demo, but I'm going to try. Actually, Don and I were working on this last week. So this is if I'm going to send a message to my son, and the suggestive text thing comes up. And a lot of people, I really like this, a lot of people don't like it. And you have to sort of, it's hard to do, you have to grab it right here at the edge, and then you can make it go away, and then it won't work. but it's sort of hard to do. I'll see if I can, you just gotta sort of, sometimes you have to have an initial or something in there to work first. Can't even get it to work now. There. Man, it doesn't seem to, I haven't found a foolproof way to get that down. Sometimes it'll go right down, and sometimes it won't. You'll notice when it's down, there's this little white thing here, and it's pretty easy to get it to come back up. It's easier than getting it back down. But getting it down is a chore. There.
You swiping down?
Yeah, swiping down on from that line. So here I'm going to grab this and swipe up right here. And there it is. And you do the same thing. You get on this line. A lot of times you end up with a word there, and you just have to, I don't know what the trick is, but it's difficult to do. There.
And the best thing with that is it works in 2 languages at once. Because I often write stuff in Spanish and English on the same
Right.
message.
So I wanted to demo that. I like it on, and but some people, Don had asked, how do you turn it off? And that's how you turn it off, but it's tricky.
How do you turn it back on?
You just lift that up, lift that little white thing up in the middle. It can be tricky to turn on too. Yes.
If you just press your finger, is it off? Now we're on, it's off.
It's off.
Turn it on again.
I mean, it's on. I'm sorry.
Just press your finger right in the middle of the word block and slide down, right in the middle.
There. That's not doing anything.
It works here. Where the suggested word is, right in the middle of the block and swipe down.
Right in the middle of what block?
Well, the suggested word.
Right in the middle.
Up,
Yeah.
up, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, that seemed to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was looking for a good answer there. So, you have a good one for getting it back up too?
See? Just like,
Oh, yeah, okay, see, light up the box.
yeah. Right in the
And
middle.
then, so light up the box and pull down. Good. You got that one solved. I played with that for half an hour. My wife said, what the hell are you doing? Is there a spot on your screen? Yes.
I was gonna make a comment. First of all, I just read on here when you were busy showing me something else. 811 is ready to come this week. And one of the problems they've had is that the syncing, you get dropped from your Wi-Fi while you're syncing and you don't know it. And so when it gets back on, if you miss that it's gone off, it may have dropped some data that was trying to sync. And you don't know it. So what Jerry's talking about with the having 1 live and 2 not live,
Yes.
that's turned out to be very crucial right now. But they're supposed to be fixing that this week. Because what happened was their computers had to restart a download every time you went off the Wi-Fi. So it wasn't in their interest.
Who is they?
Apple.
Ah, and what's coming out? 811?
811.
Oh, 811, okay.
811 will be imminent and said they skipped the beta 2. So
Okay.
they're hitting that it's right now.
It's coming, yeah, because 8.1 has got some bugs in it. I mean, my iPad has crashed a few times. Okay, I want to go through this Safari real quick because we only got about 20 minutes left. So let me get to that. Now, I mentioned for the new people here, the courses on lynda.com. This is a course on iOS new features, which we'll get to. Here's my courses, my course history. So here are all the courses over the years that I've taken. And it just is just a wonderful service. So, but I want to go to this one and I want to just show the Safari.
powered down.
No,
I'm talking about the black box.
oh, the black box in the back?
Right there.
Right there, right.
Power on. There's no light, so the power's go off.
Ah,
Exception.
okay.
There are a few new useful features in Safari, but they can only be found on the iPad version. Let's take a look. I'm going to go ahead and open up Safari. And the first thing I want to point out is fairly small. The bookmarks button has moved from the right side over here to the left side. And if I hit the bookmarks button, I get this sidebar rather than a floating pop-up window like we saw in iOS 7. Now the same options are here. You get bookmarks, the reading list, and shared links. It's just a different layout. And that layout change is because it will more closely match Safari in Yosemite, which is the upcoming version of Mac OS 10. I'm going to go ahead and tap the bookmarks button again to close that. Now here's another layout change that will match Yosemite. When I scroll up on the web page, you'll see that the address and the tab bar shrink away. Let me show you that again. I'll scroll all the way down, and you'll see that the address bar and tab bar are well visible up here. But if I scroll even a little bit on the page, it'll shrink down, giving me more space to browse and read my web page. Now, of course, if I scroll all the way down here, as soon as I scroll all the way up to the
Anybody that has questions, I guess, that we don't need to actually demonstrate. I just want to plug that directly. We don't want to start doing that.
No, it's too late. Yes,
Go ahead, ask somebody else.
yes.
So this is off of what we've been on, but, and I remember somebody was mentioning this. I have a Bluetooth and an OnStar, and for some reason, they've gone out of sync. I can't get calls into my car when I'm through my cell phone. So my cell phone rings and it's supposed to go onto Bluetooth so I can hear it throughout the call.
Okay, what kind of a phone do you have?
5S.
A 5S?
Uh-huh.
And what iOS?
It's the latest.
Okay. They had some difficulties with Bluetooth connectivity in cars. And I know for my cars, what I had to do was I had to get out the car manual on how you pair up your phone. And I went in and I deleted my phone completely, and then I reset it up, and then it seemed to work fine.
Okay.
Well, I think you have to delete it from both. Delete the phone from your car and the car from your phone, if there's a setting.
I don't think that, I only had to delete it from the car. I mean, once it was deleted from the car, it wasn't showing on my phone anymore.
Oh,
Okay.
But that seemed to do the trick.
Okay, that's good.
But that was a common problem, particularly with iOS, and even with iOS 8, it was problematic when you did that. Now, when 8.1 came out, it seemed like a lot of that stuff went away.
Okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
Yes.
One of the things that I noticed is that when I receive a phone call, I don't hear it ringing. I don't hear the phone ringing.
Yes.
I don't hear anything until the voice shows up, and then it's on my car.
How do you know to answer?
right.
Radio goes off.
The voice starts. I mean, you hear the person speaking, but you don't hear the phone.
What makes the voice start if you didn't answer?
Right.
Well, you can set a phone so it's automatic answer.
Yeah, it must be on that. No, wait a second, no, it's when I call somebody.
Oh.
It's when I call somebody.
You don't hear the ring at the other
I
end.
don't hear it ringing on my car, so I don't know whether there's anybody, whether it's ringing or not, but as soon as my daughter will answer the phone, I hear her voice.
Yeah. Have you done the resetting, repairing of your phone on the car?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not
This
experienced.
was in the very beginning, I haven't done it since 8.1.
You might want to try that. I'm not experiencing that. I was experiencing problems. I was experiencing all kinds of problems. And a lot of it had to do with more the car you have than the iOS.
So now, besides throwing your computer out when you leave the room, throw your car keys.
Yeah.
We gotta
I
buy a
actually-
new computer,
I
a new
had-
iPad and a new car.
I actually went to Acura and told them that if they didn't get this thing to work right
We're gonna have to buy a new car.
with Apple, that I wouldn't be buying a new car there in the future, and I was serious.
And what they do.
They didn't do anything. But I told
I got a brand new
them,
car.
I told them that I am not gonna buy a new car that is not completely compatible with my iDevices, because I think that's where things going. Other questions? Yes,
Just going back to the battery depletion,
yes.
I'm trying to find, there's somewhere a list that lists all the apps that use the location services. And I think if you have a battery problem, you'll come
Yeah,
and
no, I've
apply
got it all
that.
turned off.
You check out what uses your location services and turn them off.
There's another place that might be useful in the settings, general usage, I think. There's a one that shows you what apps are using your battery.
Yeah, it's settings, and then it's usage. Settings, general, and usage, and it will show you, and then the top item is battery usage, and you hit that, and it gives you a whole list of things that are using your battery.
Okay,
So
that's very.
there's what it looks like when you, takes a minute for it to populate.
I'm getting a message that I should update my iOS on my Mini.
Yes.
Then I go to it and it says, well, I can't do it because I don't have enough storage. Well, the Mini only has 5 gigs, and it says it needs like 4 point.
Okay, well, there is a workaround on that, and that is plug it into the computer and do it over iTunes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And I understand that's a good workaround. The other workaround is to start to delete videos if you have videos on there. to
No,
make
I just have
space.
photographs. but-
Okay. So I've heard that a good workaround is to plug it in to iTunes
Thank you,
and
okay.
do the download from there.
And it usually is faster.
And it's usually faster, yes.
And it's actually 8.1, should I wait for 8.2?
No, you can do 8.1 right now, and I
Okay.
mean, well, you could wait until the end of the week if it's, you say it's coming
It's
out.
gonna come very fast.
Yeah.
I'd rather wait.
Now, one announcement that I did not make is that next Thursday at the Laley Library Branch, which is across from Edison College in Laley, I'll be doing an iPad, iPhone beginner class out there. And I know that there's plenty of room. So if anybody's interested in that, you're welcome to attend. It's going to be from 2 to 4 o'clock. I will be there. George will be there for a while.
Are they supposed to call the library?
You can call the library and get your name down. It's the Laley branch.
South Regional.
South Regional, yes. And just tell them you want the next, the 20th. The 20th.
2 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock. And anybody here is welcome to attend that. Yes?
Question, Jane. Is it possible to go into Keychain and change an erroneous password?
Yes.
How do you do it? Where?
George is going to tell you
There's
about
something
that.
called Keychain, in the
Sure.
utilities folder, there's something called Keychain Utility. You activate that, and then that gets you into where you can edit the.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Sorry we had a video failure here, but we did. Let me see, I want to just see, I'm just curious, I don't know why we had that video failure, it really bothers me. Now, I don't have it on my iPhone.
No, for some reason, it's not coming across from some reflector or your laptop is on it.
Yeah, it has to do with the laptop, because it's coming up on my phone.
Have to get a new laptop.
Yeah, put that in the basket.
Put the box on the way out.
I gotta empty it, it's full. No, it was funny, I thought about that because I saw at Best Buy yesterday, they were throwing all these old computers and printers and everything into this big box. And You know, there is a great recycling place over on
Good.
Goodland. It's state of the art.
Incidentally, next Wednesday, Jim Corsica is going to be our meeting leader. And it will be focused on Apple
He wants to talk.
over his wall. It's going to be on Apple TV.
Yay. Yeah.
Okay? And we have struggled for many months to be able to project Apple TV onto that screen instead of Jim having to carry in his 70-inch TV set. We think it's going to work. So we're looking forward to that, and we encourage you all to be here. Thank you, Mitch.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.